Right, so now that it's March, it's time to get on and give our lawns the first proper feed of the year. And there's two ways we can do it. We can get on with a granular, which is a much slower release. Even though this is the quick release, it's certainly going to be much slower than using a liquid product. Which one you opt for is going to depend on a few different factors. So if you do want to get on with a liquid feed, what you're going to want to have is quite a dry sward at the time of application. And the reason being is because when you spray the product down, it's absorbed through the grass blade of the plant. Whereas when you get on with a granular feed, it's obviously going to drop down to the soil profile. It's going to break down, it's going to feed the soil, which will in turn feed the plant. Hence why it's a slower release compared with the liquid feed, which obviously is absorbed straight away by that grass plant, and you'll see a much quicker result. And this is the liquid feed I'm opting to go with. Then it's the Grass People's Make It Grow Fertilizer, and it says on their website it's a great product to apply at this time of year because it's all about sort of waking up that grass plant. It's at that period of being dormant over the winter, and now it's about feeding it, getting it back to being a strong plant. And if anyone's wondering, it's a 9-4-6 mix, and at time of recording we've got a couple of really mild weeks ahead of us where we're going to be getting highs of like 10 degrees, 13, 14 degrees. So this will certainly do a fairly decent job at getting that lawn firstly nice and green, even though it does look fairly green and decent today, but also it's going to encourage more growth from those plants, particularly the fescue plants we have in there, which is going to help thicken up that sward. For whatever reason, that Maralex spray that I had was having none of it, then I think something's wrong with the battery, so I'll have to give them an email at some point today. But that just means we're back to the old faithful, the Oregon knapsack sprayer. I'm sure these used to be about 40 quid on Amazon, and I think recently they've gone up in price, but if you haven't got one already, it's a brilliant bit of kit for actually applying liquids to your lawn. So as ever, just put a little bit of water in your spray before you put any of the product in. And with this product, it says put about 2 millilitres in for every metre squared. So I'm going to put around about 30 mils into the sprayer. The amount of water really doesn't matter when you put a product like this down, because it's just however much water it's going to take to do one whole pass across your entire lawn. You can cut your lawn before you apply anything like this down. However, this was cut last week and it's not really had a massive amount of growth since. And also, the more grass blades we have, the more the plant can absorb the product. So it's likely it's going to need a cut, probably towards the back end of next week. But let's keep as much of the grass plant as we can to absorb as much of the product as we can too. There we go, we sprayed the product down. Let's give it a week and let's see what this lawn is looking like then. So it's not quite been a week, it's been 5 days, but the next couple of days we've got a little bit of rain and I don't have much time to get out and record. So we're going to do the update now instead. And so far, 5 days in, the feed's definitely doing what it says on the tin. I'm really happy with the quality of the sward at the moment, and I think in terms of density for this time of year, it's actually looking pretty good. I mean, the test of a decent lawn is actually getting right over the top, and that kind of reveals the imperfections. And when we get closer, you've got the odd plug that's completely dried out, that's still sitting on the space. But for this time of year, you're talking the start of March now, really isn't too bad. And with that feed going down onto the lawn now, you can just see how there's a consistent colour across the space. And there was anyway, I'm not saying this wasn't a half decent lawn to begin with. It was, it's naturally in a fairly decent space. But that feed's just sort of enhanced, the appearance of the lawn. The actual sward's fairly dry. The soil, there's moisture in there, you can feel it. But the lawn isn't sodden, it's in a fairly decent state. And that was the whole point of the recent aeration, was to, you know, dry out part of the soil, but also increase that microbial activity. It's add that feed now onto the grass plants, and we've seen results after 5 days, but it's because the liquid feed's been absorbed by the leaf of the plant. If you get on with a granular, depends on the amount of rain we have, it's going to sort of determine how fast or how slow it's going to be able to feed the lawn. But yeah, getting on with the liquid feed kicks in straight away. Just got to do it when you've got a dry day. And because that feed is doing its thing and it's causing the lawn to grow, it just makes sense to get on with the mower now. Let's take the tops off the grass plants. Let's encourage more of that growth, because that's what we want this lawn to do. We want this lawn to start thickening up. Let's add that feed. We'll give it a cut and get it off to the perfect start this spring. I do just want to say that when I turned this lawnmower here the other week, when I was giving it a cut, it started to churn up the soil slightly. And again, testament to the aeration, it's dried that soil out. It's not churning the soil up whatsoever. And there we go, with a few stripes. The lawn's looking decent. Even on this side, I'd say for March, it's looking pretty good. So, thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, feel free to give it a like. And if you'd like to follow along with any of these lawn tip videos, or even any garden renovation stuff, then consider subscribing if you haven't already. And finally, thanks for watching.